Hey everyone, God bless you. Thanks for tuning in today. My reflection I've entitled Medical Asceticism. Medical Asceticism. I'm continuing my reflections on physical health and the use of doctors and medicines from St. Basil the Great, from his long rules, especially his 55th question and answer. Should Christians utilize the medical art and go to doctors? In our last session, we discussed the concept of medical moderation. Today, I'm turning your attention to medical asceticism. I have found it fascinating over my years as a priest to see that when my people would get sick, and I think this is a universal human condition, when we get sick, we put a lot of attention on studying how to regain our health and the nature of our disease. In fact, I would say with the accessibility for previously hidden medical information now at our fingertips through the internet, many times when we get a serious diagnosis, we launch into a serious study of our disease. We read all sorts of articles, we join groups and have discussions with people who have similar maladies. We study the proposed cures and suggestions on how to treat our disease. We become mini experts, we really do. And there's nothing wrong with that, nothing wrong with that. I do think it's illustrative, however, of how we should relate to more serious diseases, that is, the serious diseases of the soul. Curing the diseases of the soul is far more important than curing the disease of the body. In fact, if we cure the diseases of the soul, you'll be guaranteed a cure of the body in the resurrection. But if we attend only to our bodily comfort and to our bodily health and neglect our souls, we will not be able to hold on to our body's health either, because we will not experience a resurrection unto life. So this is my first point. It's an observation about our zeal for studying our physical maladies, and I'm simply suggesting that we should have an equal and greater zeal to study our spiritual maladies. If we have a disease of anger, we should study it just like we would if we have diabetes. We should study the causes of that anger, what the great doctors of the soul, the saints of the church, say about why anger exists, where it comes from, how it can be conquered. We have magisterial texts on those subjects. So this is my first point, is that we have a reading and study asceticism that's associated with physical maladies. And we should also have a reading and study asceticism over the course of our entire lives as we seek spiritual health. This is point one. My second point under this topic of medical asceticism is that we go to great ends and are willing to suffer terrible things. The expenditure of great cost, of great time. We submit ourselves to cutting, to surgeries, to frequent visits to our physicians, to an alteration of diet, a full engagement of therapy for restoration of health. We engage, obviously, in great efforts in order to regain our physical health. And we should, of course, even more so engage in serious regimens for our spiritual health. We shouldn't balk at investment of time, of resources. The obedience that we give to doctors when they counsel us to follow principles to restore our physical health, do we offer the same obedience to our spiritual father's counsel? Do we take the counsel of the fathers and those confessors in our own life who are trying to help us heal our spiritual diseases with the same seriousness? We absolutely should. Are we willing to take the bitter medicines? Listen to St. Basil. I think he has a marvelous word about this. This is him. He says, Moreover, as in using the medical art, we submit to cutting and burning and the taking of bitter medicines for the cure of the body, so also in caring for our souls, we must heal them by accepting the cut of the reproachful word and the bitter medicine of penalties or penances. This is a beautiful word from St. Basil the Great. Submitting to the asceticism of the soul. Listen to him once more. Again, from question 55. He says, right reason dictates, therefore, that we demur neither at cutting nor at burning, nor at the pains caused by bitter and disagreeable medicines, nor at abstinence from food, nor at a strict regimen, nor at being forced to refrain from that which is hurtful. Nevertheless, we should keep as our objective our spiritual benefit. Our spiritual benefit. This is always what is to be even behind and informing our quest for physical health. And as we continue some reflections in the coming days, I want you to think this way. I want you to think this way, that even in our engagement for physical health, we are pursuing the healing of the soul, the healing of the whole person. And if we are willing to engage in medical asceticism, and I would say that the evidence is quite obvious that we are, we should be even more willing and more resolved to engage in spiritual asceticism, to embrace the pains of whatever it takes to make our hearts pure and our minds illumined and our souls healthy. I think it's a sad irony that we Christians often voluntarily assume great discomfort and asceticism if it's going to lead to the benefit of physical health and getting better physically. But we often are quick to resist the discomfort of disciplines like the pain of an empty stomach or the weariness of legs standing in vigil and in nighttime prayer, or the pain of the eyes, concentrating on the reading of Scripture or the study of the Church Fathers. But that is the path to everlasting life. And if we accept the discomfort, and if we know in our minds that accepting discomfort of the body, following the advice of our physicians of the body, will lead to health, how much more should we accept the guidance of the Church and the counsel of our spiritual physicians when it leads to the healing of the soul? May God strengthen us with that proper valuation, and God keep you.
Patristic Nectar Publications is pleased to present a new 5-lecture series entitled Contemporary Women Saints. St. John of Sinai, in his Ladder of Divine Ascent, writes that the lives of the saints arouse us to emulation of their courage and lead us to the virtue of humility and compunction. Contemporary saints are particularly important since they acquired their love for God and holiness in the midst of our current milieu and demonstrate that spiritual acquisition is possible even in our own troubled times.
For these and other available titles, please visit our website at patristicnectar.org.